I'm recapping lesson 5.3, which is graphing exponents and their inverses, which are logs. This is the recap of lesson 5.3. So we are given this exponential y equals 5 to the x, and the first part says sketch y equals 5 to the x. So we're going to find different values to plug in here, and we always want to plug in -1, 0, and 1 to get started. So let's plug in 5 to the -1 is 1/5, so 1/5. 5 to the 0, anything to the power of 0, remember, is always 1. And then 5 to the 1 is 5. 5 to the 1 is 5. So let's plot each of these points. So -1, 1/5. It's going to be right there. And now I've got 0, 1. 0, 1 is the coordinate next, right there. And then the last coordinate is 1, 5. 1, 5. So up by 5. Plot the point, and now I'm going to connect the dots. And I can see my exponential graph. Now part B says find the inverse algebraically. So we're actually going to solve and find the inverse algebraically. So let's start first by our first step, which is to switch x and y. We're going to switch the x and y. So now I have 5 to the y equals x. So notice the x and the y switched places here. And then the next step is to solve for y. And how do we solve an exponential, or how can we rearrange it to solve for y? We can do the loop and rewrite it as a log. So I've got log base 5, the next is x equals y. I just rewrote it, rearranged it. So now let's actually graph this thing. So we've got log base 5 of x equals y, and we need to graph this inverse. That's our new inverse equation. So I'm going to make my table of values. I've got my x and my y values, but remember, for the table, all you have to do is refer back to our old table, and we're just going to switch x and y in the tables. We're just switching the x and y from the tables. We don't need to plug in numbers. We could just switch the x's and the y's. So I'm going to write these out. 1/5 and -1, 1 and 0, and then 5 and 1. And now I'm going to go up and start graphing these points. So first I've got 1/5 and -1. It's going to be like right here. 1/5 -1. Then I've got 1, 0 right there. And then 5, 1. 5, 1, and I'm going to connect them now. And you could probably see the relationship between this blue line and this black line. You'll know you graphed the exponential and its inverse correctly if you see this reflection across this diagonal line, y equals x.